Is James Bond in danger of becoming irrelevant? The spy genre is becoming more and more competitive. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 is currently holding a 96% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% audience score. It also has an 8 out of 10 on IMDb and is currently considered the best of the 7 films. Treason, another great spy thriller that dropped back in 2022, starring former Bond girl Olga Kurylenko, as well as Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox. This series is a blast from the start as we see Olga attempt to assassinate the head of MI6, unfolding a deep-seated plot that involves kidnapping and betrayal. It grabs you tight and makes you question how strong your loyalty would be to your own country when your family is on the line. And these are just two great examples of spy adventures that are kind of holding things down while Eon finds a director and ultimately, of course, the next James Bond. For 007 in the 2020s, we're in familiar but also uncharted territory here. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, aka The Bearded Blofeld. If this is your first time here, welcome. I put out weekly content discussing everything around James Bond, from fashion to cars to music to films. So if James Bond is your thing like he is mine, please consider subscribing, and I always appreciate a thumbs up. Reinvention. Well, that's nothing new for 007. James Bond has been here before, but each time we have a passing of the torch, new challenges are presented. What is relevant for Bond? How does a villain fit into the narrative? And ultimately, what is Bond going to do to stop them and save the day? Seems about right, but I wanted to take a look at an outside source for this topic. Someone whom is not as close to the franchise, but also has the ability to articulate their views. To quote Robert Meyer Burnett from the John Campea Show, he said that Bond should be like Top Gun Maverick. Bond should be training the new MI6, and he has grown up in a world of HR departments that are accepting all kinds of complaints. You can't just bed every beautiful woman you want. Did you harass them? You have to make sure there is all kinds of representation. And what does a guy like James Bond do? He's like, who cares? And everyone else is like, no, it's time for you to care. Eon doesn't want to find themselves chasing their own genre. They're the ones who created the genre. They need to set the standard. License to Kill. That was Lethal Weapon and RoboCop level of just gore and blood. And that's what I'm getting at. That's an example of chasing your own genre. They created the stage, but they went with something else they were trying to play off of a current trend. And we also saw that with Quantum of Solace, where we got, the Bourne Identity camera jerkiness and everything. And I get that, they're trying to incorporate different elements of pop culture into their films, and this can get expensive, and ultimately it can date your film horribly because you fall into those trends of the time rather than being the trendsetter. Let's be honest. We need a GoldenEye. We need it marketable with the actor's face everywhere. Craig really missed out on this. He didn't want his face on any of the promotional material, the marketing material. He didn't want to do, toys or accessories like that. We had that with Brosnan. We had that with Moore. We had it with Connery, and it was successful. It's what kept the name James Bond in the family household. Now, Craig wasn't completely out of it. He did promote the video game. He went in and lended his likeness. He did Quantum of Solace. He did GoldenEye Reloaded, and of course he did Bloodstone. And if you haven't seen my review, I'm going to post that video at the end, so be sure to stick around for that. So who is good enough to play the iconic 007? Well, I'm sticking with my top choice, Thomas Doherty. The guy has really upped his game. He's staying in shape. He's proven his acting ability through the film The Invitation. Definitely go see that if you're even considering it. It's actually a pretty fun film regardless, so I'd recommend that film to anyone anyway. But where else do we see this character going? There are so many stones to turn over now that the creek has run dry on the Craig era. Some will say that all we need to do is just drop into an adventure. ignoring the past work of the previous actor and just get into the meat and potatoes of a Bond movie. GoldenEye was a superb example of this formula, and this is most likely the direction they're going to go in given the previous success. Do we go another full 15 years mapped out, similar to what they did with Craig, but better, much better, more like the Avengers, if you will? And I know I can already hear the keyboard warriors clacking away.
That's the worst idea ever. Why would you even think that?
Or on the flip side,
We just did that with Craig, and it worked well when it worked.
it was just bogged down by too many conflicting variables, and honestly, Craig got stuck in a couple different bad writing situations. I feel pretty strongly if they go with the 15-year plan where they map this out, we may get something even better than we could even imagine, because they lock in an actor, they could lock in a composer. Now, I don't think they should lock in a director, and I know a lot of people are thinking, well, what about a Nolan trilogy? Guys, let's be honest. I don't think he's going to do it. He may do one, and I think it would be a great option, but that's another topic for another time. And there are valid points on both sides that could be made. Then there's something bold, something going on at IFP, Ian Fleming Productions. Stick with me here. I promise I'm going somewhere. I promise. With this being the 70th anniversary of literary Bond, IFP is re-releasing 3 iconic continuation novels. Colonel's Son, written by Kingsley Amis, writing as Robert Markham, 0-10 by Raymond Benson, and James Bond, the authorized biography written by John Pearson. Knowing this, would it be a reinvention if they went back and crafted 5 films around the continuation novels? The cross promotion would sell tickets hand over fist.
Shut up and take my money.
And if you release the books accordingly with the films, we're talking about a marketing masterpiece. Even if they're just re-released as paperbacks, you're gonna stir up a buzz. And if anyone knows Raymond Benson's Union trilogy, imagine for anyone who's read those, just imagine that coming to the big screen. Yeah. Or even Carte Blanche by Jeffrey Devers. Yes, please. No, not the Gardner books. Those things became a farce, rolled into a camping tent, shoved inside of a cheesecake. They just got to be way too ridiculous and over the top. But think about it. This could be a step away from the mundane, formulaic past and a step directly into the future, pulling from the past. And truth be told, most of these adventures could easily be adapted into something for the big screen. It's time to get back to the excitement for this franchise, to expand its reach with a modern but proven tactic. And for that, we don't have to look far. Hang with me. I promise this is going to make sense. J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter series. That team knew what they were doing, and they knew how to reach the fandom. And some of you might be sitting out there saying,
But Chris, isn't Harry Potter for children? Bond is for men. He's for adults. He's brutal. He's sophisticated. He likes drinks and one-night stands.
I mean, well, you're right, but so did Indiana Jones. And I mean, I could find merchandise for him at Target. And last time I checked, he fought Nazis. So you just kind of proved my point.
Poppycock.
Harry Potter and Indiana Jones are franchises that appeal to adults and kids alike. The merchandise reflected this, and it kept their audiences engaged and craving even more. Offering merchandise that speaks to everyone really was kind of lost in the Craig era. Once again, Corgi put out that whitewashed series they did where they updated a few things, and yes, they did give us probably the best model they've ever created with the Triumph motorcycle from No Time to Die. Okay, yeah, and we got some socks we can wear to work, which are awesome, and we got some cool shot glasses from Skyfall. I digress. We need accessible marketing that puts him back in front of the eyes of the general public. And in this humble fan's opinion, Eon and IFP, they need to be talking to each other. They need to be teaming up and creating a game plan around this for the future. Partner with names like Target, Macy's, Nordstrom's, Lego. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having your boutique items like the Orla Bar Brown collection when they just released the Octopussy collection. I gotta tell you, that collection has really grown on me. Like, I wasn't a fan at first, but the more I looked at it, the more I kind of looked at each piece, there's some really, really nice items in that collection. Some of those items really do speak to me.
Hey, big boy, why don't you come over after work and try me on for size?
But if those boutique items is the only thing you're offering to your fandom, you're limiting yourself in sales, in growth, and the fandom to only the wealthy.
Oh, and the valet ticket.
And guys, if you're sitting on the other side of this lens and I'm just another talking head in your living room, first off, thank you. That means a lot that you took the time to include me in your daily life. But I want to cover many topics on this channel, and literary bond is one of the biggest, if not the biggest element to the James Bond saga. So what I'm saying is I continue to ramble on about being a talking head, and more importantly, answering the question, is James Bond in danger of becoming irrelevant? No, of course not. There are new movies coming, and more importantly, read more Bond adventures. Pick up some of the comic books from Dynamite Comics. They have so many series that are in a back catalog that you can get. They're currently on For King and Country. And get lost in a great spy adventure with a renewed enthusiasm. Because I can tell you,
if all else fails, sometimes the old ways are the best.
Thanks for watching. And you know what? Something just doesn't feel right about my new closing. Stay dangerous is okay, but it just doesn't feel right. Let's try that again. Thanks for watching, and as always, Merry Christmas, 007.